Okay, removing the transmission. First we have to remove the two Phillips screws holding the console panel in place. One on the left and one on the right. And you just pull up, pull towards you and up, and it flips back as you can see there. And then we have two clips holding the cabinet on and the wire harness for the lid switch. That's right there. A little tab you pull out with your thumb or a screwdriver. Pull it straight up. And stick a screwdriver down in there and pry that forward, and it pops right up as you can see. And now the whole cabinet comes off. That's what's nice about these. If you've never done this before, you can work on anything, reach anything on the machine with ease by taking the whole cabinet off. And we're getting the transmission out. Just take the agitator out. A lot of agitators are different, but this is a common one here. There's what I was just showing you there is some kind of a seal to keep the water from getting down in the transmission. So you just pop that out. I can grab it with my finger sometimes, or a screwdriver makes it easier. And now a 1/2 inch bolt holds. I'm sorry, 7/16. That's 7/16 right there, holding the transmission agitator in. Reach around the bottom, as you can see, I have it there. Just pull it straight up. 9 times out of 10, it'll come up without any problem. And that's it. Just lay it over on its back with a dolly if you have one, or just on the floor. Okay, on this one normally I take the pump off, but this one is such a rust bucket. I wish I had a better machine to show you instead of this one. This is just rusty. I almost threw it out, but I got a customer waiting for a matching set, so this is the only one that I had. So here I'm taking off the 1/4 inch screws that hold the brackets to the motor. And there you can see straight down the hole where I just took them out, and you just pop that out with a screwdriver. There's one, and then one on the other side, of course. And you can see on the pump I took, normally, like I said, I take the pump off, but this is just rusted or stuck onto the motor somehow. And so I just took off the two hoses off the ports there, and I'll just leave that on the motor. That's okay, because you can put it all together back as one unit later. And here I'm just disconnecting the wire harness, and this one's a 3-speed motor. That's what that black and white connection right there is that I'm undoing. Most machines don't have that, only the 3-speed. So, and then the two wires to the capacitor. And again, this is a rust bucket, so it actually took me a lot longer. I edited a lot down. Okay, now the motor's free. Just pull the motor out. Here's the transmission, 3 1/2 inch bolts. That's a sideways view of it. And I got the camera on the tripod, so it's hard to move it around. And removing the retainer clip, just pinch it together with pliers on the other side, and it'll slide right through. My rusty transmission. And here's removing the bolts, 3 of them, 1/2 inch again. Pulling the transmission out. After that, it should slide right out. I rarely have trouble pulling those out. Almost every time. They never get stuck or rusted in there. I've rarely had that trouble with that. And here I am applying. I don't know if you need to do this on these. The old models, we always did that. Put actual grease, any kind of thick grease on there on the top. Just if nothing else to get it to slide in there. The old machines, it would not only slide in the bearing easier, but it would make it quieter, of course. And when you line this up, make sure the clutch spring, I'll show that in a minute here, does not hit that white thing in the middle. I'll show you in a second here. And there's your clutch spring right there. Now make sure that is anywhere but right here. I don't know what that thing is called, but that's what pushes the clutch. The clutch pushes that to spin the spin tube, which spins the basket full of clothes. So make sure it's just not right. It's anywhere but right there, so it doesn't hit. It'll slide in all the way. And then just slide it in. Make sure the motor mounting bracket is facing up. And again, that the clutch spring is not hitting that white part that protrudes out. And now you just got 3 bolts to put in there, the 1/2-inch bolts on a rusty transmission. And there's your coupling. That's what they call the coupler or coupling. I had to make sure the empty. That's how I do it. I make sure the empty spot is at 12 o'clock position straight up there. That's just always worked for me. Then you line this up at 12 o'clock, obviously, so it'll fit right in. And then make sure all your 4 rubber grommets are on the motor. And I apologize for this. Apparently I haven't learned how to aim a video camera. I'll work on that on the next video. But I'm just putting the motor back in the same way you took it out. Just plop it right back down. And this one with the pump on it. And there you go. And there's 4 grommets. You can see one right and low right there. I'm not really pointing at it, but it's right there in the corner of the motor. There's 4 of those rubber grommets on each side of the motor. So just make sure that none of those fell out. And here's the retainer bracket. You push it in and turn it sideways. And then you could push that on with your thumb. I got kind of small hands, so I use as you can see here, channel locks to push that right in, just a lot easier. And then there's a 1/4-inch screw on that hole in the top to hold it into place. Not all models have that. I used to leave those out, but I've gone out on service calls where the motor was hanging down. Once in a blue moon that'll happen, and I found out those 1/4-inch are more important than I thought they were, so I started putting those back in and hook the wires back up. Plug wires, plugs right in. And then the 2 wires go to the capacitor, and on this particular 3-speed, the 2-wire harness that plugs together. Only on the 3-speed model, which most machines don't have. And just hook up the 2 pumps to the ports. And for some reason I didn't finish the video here, but once you put those on, there's 2 clamps that you could just squeeze with a pair of pliers. I use channel locks, and then to hold the hose pump right on onto the ports of the pump. Here I am putting the 2 1/4-inch screws in. And that is it. Thanks for watching.